Okay, just a little disclaimer, I'm very unfamiliar with the Total War series. I've only ever played Total War Empires, and even then, I've only played that for like 3 hours, and I've yet to play Total War Rome 2, so it might be best if you take my opinion with a grain of salt. Although I've recently bought Total War Attila, Rome 2, and Napoleon on a pretty sweet sale, and I'm pretty excited to try them all out. But enough chit chat. I'm sure you guys want to hear my opinion on the matter, even though I have 0 subscribers and I'm basically talking to myself at this point. So what I can piece together, this whole controversy stems from a Steam thread which talked about female generals and politicians. This thread laid the foundation for an absolute mess. But female generals and units, it's not actually what makes people upset. Rather, the controversy itself seems to stem from a poor response given by CA Ella on the Steam thread. She had this to write. If having female units upsets you that much, you can either mod them out or just not play. So basically this set a huge spark because this was basically an employee from CA themselves pissing on their fan base. And honestly, from what we're seeing from the reviews, well, the fans have certainly spoken. And in this case, I certainly side with the fans indeed. It's one thing to tell people, don't like it, don't play it, before the game comes out, something like Battlefield 5 did, but to say something like this after the game is out and people have already bought it? Disgraceful. CA then moved to release this statement, which I'm not gonna read because it ignores the entire problem at hand. Instead of talking about the horrible response that Ella gave, they instead talk about the female generals. That's not what this is about. This is about Ella shutting down a conversation and saying, if you don't like it, don't play it, lol. Literally, all you have to do is say, we're sorry for our employee's behavior and we're reviewing her case, or something along those lines. Would this appease everyone? No, but seeing as how you're already in the bloody hole, it would certainly help. Now, if I was Ella, what would I do? Well, for starters, nothing. Yes, that's right, nothing. Just let the thread take its course. At most, I'd maybe jump in and ask them to keep the thread professional because it did start to reduce itself to hissy fits and insults at times. But once again, I'd literally just do nothing because nothing has to be done. I think the worst part about this mess is just how the game journalists are reacting to this. POLYGON essentially says that this controversy is primarily because of female characters and mostly avoids the reason why this controversy was brought up in the first place. Kotaku even paints CA Ella as brave, writing, she is however fighting an uphill battle, having only recently been brought in to moderate a forum on a platform that's been largely unmoderated for most of its existence. Kotaku then goes on to cherry-pick some of the worst examples of Creative Assembly's opposition, referring to articles from sites such as One Angry Gamer and the Daily Stormer, pointing out that these two sites were supporters of Gamergate and the other one was a neo-Nazi supporter of all things, subtly suggesting that this is indeed the opposition. Well, hey, I think Gamergate is stupid and I think that neo-Nazis are some of the dumbest people alive. How about that? Look, I don't care if you side with the opposition or agree with me. What's important here is that you, journalists, are taking sides when you should be covering both in equal light. You don't get paid to write opinions and virtue signal. At least you shouldn't be. You should be the common ground, the middle. It doesn't matter if the journalists are deliberately feeding us misinformation or if they're genuinely misinformed. What matters is that they're feeding their readers misinformation. I swear, the absolute joke that is game journalism. I think that the most hilarious thing about this debacle is that the response that Ella gave was made in August 13th, a month before this whole issue arose. Regardless, I still think it's important to talk about because of just how Creative Assembly themselves responded. If the controversy happened but CA didn't respond to any of it, I'd mostly just ignore it. But since CA thought it would be cool to bash their customers, well, I just had to make this. Overall, while the debate rages on and while the games of Total War get carpet bombed by negative reviews, I think I'll play some Total War games of my own. Because female generals or not, they do look pretty fun. Friendly fella Jed, out.